More than 100,000 people are attending this event, but it's not a football game, though some people are calling it the Super Bowl of computer shows. It's Comdex, the world's largest computer show, with more than 1,700 vendors showing off new hardware and software products. Today we'll show you what's hot and what's not at this 1988 Fall Comdex on this special edition of the Computer Chronicles.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte magazine, and VIX, the Byte Information Exchange. In print and online, Byte and VIX serve computer professionals worldwide with detailed information on new hardware, software, and technologies.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee, and this is Gary Kildall. Gary, we're here, as everybody can tell, at the Las Vegas Convention Center for Comdex Fall 88. And Gary, it seems the personal computer business is in more disarray right now than it's been at any time since maybe you introduced CP/M about 10 years ago. There are battles over standards, over bus architecture, user interfaces, operating systems. Is any of this confusion going to get resolved at this Comdex?
Well, Stuart, I don't think it's so much confusion as really the wide variety of applications that we're seeing personal computers being applied to nowadays. 10, 15 years ago, there were only a few applications, like maybe accounting packages, word processing, things like that. Yeah. But now we see games, home computers, office computers, all the way up to scientific workstations that can be considered personal computers. We also see another thing we've inherited from the mini and mainframe industry, and that's having a vendor have a vested interest in not having standards applied to the whole industry. For example, Apple, Macintosh, and things like that. Now what's happening here is we see all these customers being brought together in one place. It looks like confusion. As far as resolving standards issues, I don't think we'll ever do that.
Gary, today we're going to try to condense over 1,700 exhibits at 8 different convention sites scattered all over Las Vegas to bring you the most important new products, new developments, and new trends from this Fall Comdex. We'll be back in just a minute. Stay with us. This year's Fall Comdex spread over 8 sites in Las Vegas, from the cavernous convention hall to the high-rise hotels and casinos of the Strip, all of them hoping to attract their share of over 100,000 Comdex visitors. The massive size of recent Comdex shows makes it difficult for even the experienced visitor to unearth every new product or trend. Even if you manage to plot your path through the maze of exhibitors, there were conferences, workshops, and speeches in progress almost non-stop. November 1988 was Comdex's 10th anniversary, and if there was a standard topic of discussion after a decade, it was the lack of standards in the computer industry. The alphabet battle of EISA versus MCA and OS2 versus Unix was the subject of discussion on and off the exhibit floor as AT&T, IBM, and the rebellious Gang of 9 competed for attention. Byte magazine even took a poll to find out which operating system voters expected to dominate the 1990s. The results were hardly scientific, but 33% chose extended DOS, while standard DOS got 22% of the vote. Third place was picked up by OS2 at 18%, while graphic interface Unix got 15% of the votes. Less popular were standard Unix at 9% and the Macintosh operating system, which received only 3% of the vote. On the hardware front, the struggle was for microchannel compatible machines, or just finding one. And if you looked hard enough, you might have seen a few. MyTac of Taiwan demonstrated a genuine IBM licensed microchannel PC, complete with a 386 processor, a faster hard drive, and 2 kinds of floppy drives. MyTac is betting heavily on the ultimate success of the microchannel design.
Microchannel has very high performance in data transfer. Aside this, it already has the 32-bit bus definition. I think it's very important for the forthcoming high-performance computing requirement, such as the workstation, multi-user systems, or LAN environment. So I think this is, a microchannel is the right machine for the office environment.
Smaller clone makers were also touting microchannel, at least in prototype form. Korea Computer Incorporated, or KCI, showed a very familiar-looking PC, at least to anyone owning a PS2. KCI's microchannel entry is called the SL250. The machine features a 286 microprocessor running at 16 megahertz. It also comes with a 30 megabyte hard drive, two 3.5-inch floppies, and VGA graphics.
Since IBM announced PS2 with microchannel, we think that it's time to get into PC market. And we reviewed 80 and PS2. And when we made a decision about 6 months ago, still there was lots of rumor about the future of PS2. But since PS2 was a major announcement of IBM, we think it's better to develop PS2 compatibles.
Skirting the microchannel fray was some interesting hardware in the peripheral category. Intel displayed a CD-ROM application called DVI for Digital Video Interactive. Unlike the still image format of CDI, or Compact Disc Interactive, DVI discs will store up to 1 hour of full-motion, full-screen video. This prototype runs at a leisurely 15 frames per second, or about half the number of frames on a television monitor, but Intel expects to increase the speed in a release version. At the Sony booth, a different sort of optical storage was unveiled. Sony demonstrated a rewritable optical disk drive using magneto-optical technology. The 5.25-inch discs have a capacity of 650 megabytes and can access up to 3 megabytes of data in about 40 milliseconds. The rewritable drive is available immediately for around $4,700. For those who are more concerned with data transmission than data storage, GammaLink offered a group of products for scanning and sending documents via fax modem and PC. The GammaFax CP modem comes with a 10 megahertz 16-bit processor and 256K of RAM. Once you've transmitted the document, a program called TrueScan from Calera will transform the graphic information into correctable text using optical character recognition. The file receiver can then change and manipulate the document using any one of over 20 word processors. Glorious Union Information Systems unveiled its prototype of a combination fax, telephone, answering machine, and copier all in one box. While it still won't make coffee, the unorthodox Fax Model 14 is sure to be a boon for people with limited desk space.
This particular machine will clearly distinguish when you get a call, whether it's a voice message coming through or whether it will be a fax document coming through. It also has a capability to store up to 42 numbers. 21 would be fax numbers that you would want to store, frequently called numbers, and 21s would be voice numbers.
Laptop computers are still popular items at Comdex, and every year they seem to get a little closer to desktop machines. Dolphin Technology unveiled one of the first laptops using the new 386SX chip called the LapPro 386. LapPro runs at 16 megahertz, comes with 1 megabyte of RAM and a 40 megabyte hard drive. The 16-pound machine supports VGA graphics, and you can add up to 100 megabytes of hard disk storage. The LapPro will be available in March 1989 for around $5,000. Scattered around the various hotel exhibit halls were some clever software packages for word-conscious computer users. The WYSIWYG Corporation presented a multilingual word processor called the Universal Word. The PC-based program offers a multi-window environment, true WYSIWYG, multiple font sizes, and proportional spacing. GlobalLink Language Services took the wraps off its computer-assisted machine translation software called TWP. The program can do a rough draft translation in either direction from French, German, Spanish, and soon Russian.
Essentially, it's a productivity tool. In that sense, it will not give you a perfect translation. It's not intended to. What it does is quickly give you a draft translation. You can use that for informational purposes, or if you do want to produce a final edited translation, then you just give it to a translator for post-editing. Normally, we expect a productivity gain of about at least 3 or 4 times. The average translator manually can do about 3,000 words per day. Using our software to create a draft translation using a computer, they can do well over 10 to 12,000 words per day.
For business users concerned with work groups, Information Research introduced Syzygy, a workgroup management program that operates over a network. Syzygy organizes objectives, projects, and tasks. The program allocates staff and distributes assignments based on your budget and deadlines, and will delegate tasks via electronic mail. Syzygy will ship around Christmas for $595. Not surprisingly, the popularity of color monitors has led to a healthy increase in the number of color printers and scanners. And Fall Comdex had a good selection of both. Sharp Electronics brought out a handheld color scanner capable of scanning a 4 by 6 inch area at 200 dpi. The JX100 offers 24 bits per pixel and operates through a standard serial interface. Expected to ship in early 1989, the portable scanner will retail for under $1,000. Sharp also introduced the JX730 color inkjet printer, a wide carriage machine designed to print on plain paper. The JX730 sprays ink through 48 nozzles to produce 180 dpi resolution. According to the company, the color printer is capable of producing 1 B-sized page per minute. At the Tektronix booth, visitors could see the Phaser CP color inkjet printer, which the company claims is the first color printer compatible with both the PostScript and HPGL printer languages. The Phaser CP produces 8.5 by 11 inch transparencies and paper with a virtually unlimited range of colors and shades. The printer comes with 35 standard typefaces, 8 megabytes of RAM, and sells for around $13,000. TrueVision filled a colorful booth with some color graphics cards and color paint programs. Linker Systems demonstrated a release version of Photon Paint for the Mac, the first color paint program to run on a 32-bit bus. With 32 bits, the memory-intensive paint programs not only produce cleaner images, but they even run at a reasonable speed. Photon Paint retails at $299. For color graphics on AT-class machines, TrueVision proposed the AT Vista board and TIPS imaging software. The graphics card comes with up to 4 megabytes of video memory and retails for $2,500. There was more color at the Bilink computer booth, where visitors could get a look at the first transportable unit with EGA color graphics. The Transdata 286A comes as a kit, configured almost any way imaginable. A typically configured machine will cost you about $2,200. To get the customer's attention at a show the size of Comdex is a difficult task, requiring some special gimmicks. This year, exhibitors tried a bit of everything from comedy to tragedy. There were Las Vegas-style games, motorized fish, and giant computers. You could win free software and hardware, including an automobile. Magicians and mimes reminded visitors of the sometimes illusionary nature of new products. And finally, some vendors showed the potential disasters that could be avoided by using their company's product. One display that made visitors wince was at the Merit Products booth, which devised a way to splash a continuous stream of coffee onto a computer keyboard. The clever prank was to prove the merits of the SafeSkin Keyboard Protector, a transparent cover designed to remain in place while the keyboard is in use. There was a substantial increase in the number of foreign exhibitors at this year's Comdex, many of them clustered in World's Fair-type pavilions. The companies were often small, but their products were notable. At the Italian pavilion, Synergia was demonstrating its GeoBase, a HyperCard-based software package that provides sound and picture guides to geographic sites. In a typical presentation, GeoBase contains a stack of tourist sites in Italy, including all the features of a Michelin guide. You can choose a hotel, learn about the surrounding area, and practice your Italian as well. GeoBase will be available in January 1989. France had 2 pavilions at Comdex with an eclectic collection of hardware and software. Lotus Technologie, no relation to the other Lotus, introduced the Align series of uninterruptible power supplies for the PC and the Mac. The Align is a combination surge suppressor and current stabilizer with a 10-minute battery backup. Prices start at around $400. Next door, IEF Systems unveiled portable hard disk cartridges called disk packs with up to 170 megabytes of storage. Disk packs weigh around 2 pounds and are compatible with all microcomputers. Most models feature an access time of 19 milliseconds, and retail prices range from $1,100 to $4,200. The Serbi Corporation presented its entry to the CAD market called Conception 3D, an EGA-based package to create and manipulate three-dimensional objects. The user can generate a 3D object after entering different elevations and specifying the 3D view corresponding to the drawing. Conception 3D is available in both MS-DOS and Unix versions. A French company called 3X introduced several new communications products. Mail Server is a communications package for portable users that creates a three-way link between traveling employees, a branch office, and the home office. The company also introduced 3X Link, a memory-resident file transfer program to link laptop computers with desktop machines. 3X Link provides a dual window command interface, and it can control the printer of the remote machine. Finally, Cognisoft showed off its Cognicar character recognition system, which the company claims is the first universal document reader. Cognicar can interpret multiple font documents into text files using built-in correcting algorithms. The product uses an internal dictionary and expert system to identify any character independent of font or size. The increased European presence at Comdex was accompanied by greater attention to European markets among conference speakers. With the consolidation of common market countries expected in 1992, Peter Craiget of Mercatus International talked about the transition to a single European computing standard.
Well, there's no question that we're going to be moving towards European standards, but again, the problem is essentially still the same, and that is that the European standards are going to be changing and evolving, particularly over the next 3 or 4 years. So we're going to go from a very diverse set of standards which have no relationship to each other to at least a set of common European standards.
Europeans were not the only foreign exhibitors at Comdex. Asian countries were also looking for business, including several newcomers to the show. India opened its first Comdex exhibit, called Software India 88. The pavilion was filled with Indian companies specializing in overseas software development in the areas of computer-aided design and engineering, graphics, expert systems, and application software. A recent trend has been the link to American companies like Texas Instruments and Unisys, who take advantage of India's low development costs. The Hong Kong Development Council, in their first Comdex appearance, brought along a cross-section of the Hong Kong computer industry. The products ranged from IBM clones to printers, joysticks, keyboards, floppy drives, and scanners. Because Hong Kong's dollar is tied to the American currency, prices can be very convincing. Hong Kong-based SkyWorld Technology unveiled a line of handheld scanners under the SkyScan name in both monochrome and color models. The scanners come with utility programs for desktop publishing, word processing, graphics, and OCR software. There are models for the PC and the Mac, and prices range from $300 to $400. Before you do business in a foreign language, you may want to adapt your computer keyboard. At least that's what Genest Technologies hopes. The company introduced the Command Patch 2, a 32-key auxiliary keyboard that adds all European characters and symbols to a standard keyboard. Command Patch 2 comes with different templates for different languages and connects through the printer port. Genest also demonstrated its outboard keyboards for laptops to add separate numeric, cursor, and function keys. Translating from shorthand was the specialty at Rapid Text. The company introduced a steno machine to PC interpreter that automatically translates a stenographer's marks into English and displays it instantly on a screen. Rapid Text claims that this is the fastest way to enter data into a computer. The program can differentiate between homonyms, and it's available with auxiliary dictionaries for different professions. If Comdex can't always promise earth-shaking announcements, the show usually offers a good share of innovative products designed to improve and refine existing technologies. A clever peripheral from the Soricon company combines both barcode reader and optical character reader into one pencil-shaped wand.
There are a lot of creative new devices I see around the show. They tend to be devices looking for a problem, and at some point in time there will be problems and solutions that will be married together. Our approach is we sell keyboards. Keyboards, we have been told, are a problem because there are a lot of keyboard illiteracy. Our purpose is to bring literacy into the data entry marketplace through the use of a handheld device.
While the data sweep pencil wand may never be as common as a mouse, the company's president points out that it's a lot friendlier than a keyboard. For engineers and artists, Kai International offered the Genius Dynamouse with continuously variable dynamic resolution. Dynamic resolution is proportional to the speed of the user's hand movement, so the faster you move your hand, the faster the cursor travels. The resolution level from 200 to 800 dpi is software selectable, and the mouse comes with 20 pre-designed menus. Kai also unveiled a compact handheld scanner, the Genie Scan, with 200 dpi resolution and multi-window scanning. The mouse sells for $99, while the scanner retails for $279. DP Tech resolved a different kind of resolution problem for laser printer owners. LaserPort Grayscale is a controller card that prints up to 256 shades of gray on the Hewlett-Packard LaserJet 2. Using two boards, one for the PC and one for the printer, the Grayscale software can recreate an image without distortion, and an additional utility allows the user to change the different gray values. Suggested retail is around $1,300.
Well, the problem we were trying to solve was the inability of desktop laser printers to print a really good picture. It does an excellent job for type and graphics, but you just couldn't print a photograph that looked photographic. With LaserPort Grayscale, the users can now just incorporate into documents photographs and print out a finished product.
For users who may be wondering about how to protect themselves from the recent surge in computer viruses, Computer Integrity Corporation introduced Vaccinate Plus, an antiviral software package to cure one of the most terrifying of computer illnesses.
Vaccinate includes vaccine modules which function just like a biological vaccine. That is, we attach ourselves to the viral site and monitor it for activity, therefore detecting the virus before damage occurs.
While a PC owner may never face the massive problems that might occur on a mainframe network, the threat of any virus is enough reason to take precautions.
We stop viruses at the reproduction bottleneck, and by definition, a virus is a program which reproduces itself by modifying other files. We catch any file modification. We also have, as a side effect of the vaccine, detection of program corruption from any other source, hard disk errors, operator errors, deliberate tampering, etc.
Finally, the award for the most clever way to save space probably goes to Silver Reed, which introduced a combination printer, scanner, and copier. The SP30 will scan at about 200 dpi, while the thermal printer and copier is capable of about 1,600 dots per line resolution. That wraps up Fall Comdex 1988. In Las Vegas, I'm Stuart Chaffee for the Computer Chronicles. In the Random Access file this week, IBM says it will not introduce a new laptop computer this year as earlier promised. Big Blue announced a delay until February or March of next year. Analysts are speculating that IBM was unhappy with its laptop, and in view of its recent failures in the laptop market and strong competition from Compaq, Zenith, Toshiba, and others, IBM decided to go back to the drawing board before releasing the newest version of the PC convertible. Lots of other news on the laptop front this week. Apple is also reportedly running behind in its development of a Macintosh SE laptop. There had been speculation that the Mac laptop would be introduced at Macworld Expo in January, but sources now say the laptop won't make its debut until next summer. Atari hasn't yet officially announced its ST laptop called the Stacy, but there are already reports of a Stacy 2, which is much more compact than the original laptop, reported to basically be an ST with batteries and an LCD screen. No word on a release date or price for the Atari laptop. And Hitachi says it is getting into the laptop business with a new color LCD portable. Hitachi says it will introduce the machine called the HL400 in the second quarter of next year in Europe and Australia. No word yet on when the Hitachi laptop will be introduced into the American market. Hitachi says its laptop is a 16-bit machine and that the screen is CGA compatible with 8 colors and a resolution of 640 by 200. Wang is entering the microcomputer market with a bang. It has announced a 45% discount program on its new IBM compatibles, good only until the end of this year. Some Wang peripherals will also be included in the sale, including its laser printer, which is an HP LaserJet 2. Aerial Technology has announced a new ultralight, ultra-thin hard disk drive called the BP100. It's a 3.5-inch drive that weighs less than 9 ounces and is less than 1 inch high. Aerial says the OEM price will be $595. T-Maker has announced the release of Right Now version 2. The product had been announced for April of this year, but was delayed. The popular Macintosh word processor now features multi-finder and network compatibility and direct support for importing files from MacWrite and Microsoft Word. There is an upgrade offer for current users of Right Now. Apple has expanded its educator buying program. It used to be that a teacher could get an Apple computer at an educational discount just once. Now Apple says a teacher can buy a new machine at the discounted price once every 2 years, but you can't buy the same model twice. Finally, as you run around town buying up Nintendo and Sega games for your kids, be warned, Sega has announced a new, more powerful 16-bit game console to be released in September of next year. It's called the Sega Mega Drive, and it apparently raises the ante in the battle to bring arcade-style game action into the home. That's it for this week's Chronicles. We'll see you next time.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte Magazine, and VIX, the Byte Information Exchange. In print and online, Byte and VIX serve computer professionals worldwide with detailed information on new hardware, software, and technologies.
For a transcript of this week's Computer Chronicles, send $4 to PTV Publications, Post Office Box 701, Kent, Ohio 44240. Please indicate program date.